So, it's been a while since the last video, and I'm the only one to blame. I was too busy doing schoolwork and playing games. Well, with that out of the way, let's talk about the Scout. It's been a while since the last Scout weapon, or any weapon for that matter. And since then, the Scout's weapons are very inconsistent. You have some weapons that are good and fun to use, and then you have some that are bad and straight downgrades. But there are two weapons I will talk about that were some of the best weapons at one point, but now they're considered awful and pretty bad. And by the title of the video, you can probably guess what they are. Hello everybody, and welcome to Meet the Weapons, where I go over weapons history, statistics, and gameplay. And today I'll be talking about the public enemy set for the Scout, which contains what is known as some pretty bad weapons: Babyface Blaster and the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. On June 27, 2012, on the Pyromania update, 6 weapons were added to the game: the Scorch Shot for the Pyro, the Beggar's Bazooka for the Soldier, the Cleaner's Carbine and the Hitman's Heatmaker for the Sniper, and the Babyface Blaster and Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol for the Scout. The designs for the two weapons were both contributed by Moo Elbagas. The initial stats for the Babyface Blaster, I'm gonna call it the BFB from now on just for my sake, was that it was 40% more accurate on hit, builds boost, run at double speed at maximum boost, so it makes you better at mid-range combat and more fast. That sounds good, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. No. This weapon was given a pretty hefty downside of minus 30% damage penalty, 35% slower movement speed on wear, and boost resets on jump. Not a double jump, just a regular jump. Doesn't sound good now, does it? The initial stats of the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol was that it had a plus 15 max health on wear never takes fall damage, but was compensated by a 25% slower firing speed and 50% fire damage vulnerability on wear, so it was more of a utility weapon. So the Babyface Blaster was bad, but the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol was pretty good. Then, on November 21st, 2013, on the Two Cities update, the attributes of the BFB were changed dramatically. The speed penalty was changed from minus 35% to only minus 10%. Boost now only partially lost on air jumps instead of any jumps. The clip size was reduced from 6 shots to 4 shots, and it removed the accuracy bonus and the damage penalty as well. So right now we are in the golden age of the weapons, but sadly on July 2nd, 2015, on the gunmetal update, everything changed for the worse with the weapons. The BFB gave the attributes lose boost on damage, and the amount of boost taken away from air jumps was increased. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Pocket Pistol was nerfed to hell as well. The entire weapon was changed up for the worse. The passive abilities are only in effect while the weapon is deployed now. They've removed the 15 health passive ability, and they changed the 50% fire vulnerability to a 20% vulnerability to everything while active. But it didn't just get nerfs, it did get an awful buff. Plus 3 health on hit. They made it a crappy Blutsauger. But finally on December 17th, 2015, on the Tough Break update, the Pocket Pistol was buffed again! It was given a buff! Plus 3 health was changed to plus 5 health on hit. And that's it for the history of the weapon, so let's move on to the statistics. The Babyface Blaster is a hit scan weapon. The attack interval between each shot is 0.625 seconds. The first shot reloaded takes 0.76 seconds, and every consecutive reload is 0.56 seconds. It holds up to 4 shots and has a maximum of 32 shots in reserve. The weapon spread is 30 hammer units. It holds 10 pellets for each shot. With maximum fall off, each pellet does 3 damage. With base damage, each pellet does 6, and with maximum ramp up, each pellet does 10.5 damage. At long range, one shot does 3 to 10 damage, at medium range each shot does 10 to 40 damage, and at point blank range or a meat shot with one shot would do 90 to 105 damage. Now the Scout with regular speed, he will move at 133% or 400 hammer units per second, but when using the Babyface Blaster with no boost, the Scout moves at 120% or 360 hammer units per second, so slightly slower than the regular Scout. But once you do 100 damage with the Babyface Blaster or any other weapon, you will gain the maximum amount of boost and move at 173% speed or 520 hammer units per second, and that's pretty fast. So it takes 100 damage or 1 meat shot to fill the boost to max, but boost is reduced when hit and when performing an air jump. It currently reduces boost by 75% when performing an air jump. So how much damage do you need to take to lose all boost? 25. It only takes 25 damage to lose all boost, so you lose 4% boost for each point of damage. Anyway, now let's talk about the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. The Pocket Pistol is also a hit scan weapon. The attack interval between each shot is 0.2125 seconds. The reload speed is 1.25 seconds and has 12 bullets loaded into the clip and has 36 bullets in reserve. Just like every other pistol, it reloads all its shots at once. It has a spread recovery of 1.25 seconds. Spread recovery is the time that it takes to get back to 100% accuracy. So since the reload speed and the recovery speed are the same time, the first bullet in every clip will be 100% accurate, but every consecutive shot after that will not be as accurate. It has a 20% damage vulnerability when active, so if a demo directly hits you with the pill, it would do 120 damage instead of 100 damage. With maximum fall-off, each bullet does 8. With base damage, each bullet does 15. And with maximum ramp up, each bullet does 22 damage. When you hit an enemy with this, you gain 5 health, so with an entire clip, if you hit every shot, you will heal 60 damage. That is all for the statistics, so let's get into the gameplay. These weapons are a mixed bag in terms of gameplay. 2 days before the gunmetal update, I had bought a strange killstreak babyface blaster, and I loved it. But when the nerf hit, I stopped playing with it for a long time and just used the stock instead. And I never really used the pocket pistol at all. With the babyface blaster, you sacrifice DPS and air mobility for general mobility, and that would be a fair trade, but when you lose 25 health, you lose that mobility, and the gun becomes a straight downgrade. But to be fair, it only does take 100 damage to gain it all back, so it ain't that much, but really, 25 damage. Almost everything in this game does more than 25 damage. 2 straight pistol shots will make you lose all the boost. Anyway, the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol is a utility weapon, since there are better options if you just want to go for damage, but with the state of the weapon right now, it's just a crappy Blutstalker. I understand why they got rid of the plus 15 health on wear. It's because it interferes with the readability of the game. When you see a weapon, you should know what it is and what it does. All resistances right now are visible to let the player know what they're fighting against, but with the old pocket pistol, you had no idea whether the scout had 140 health or not till he pulled out the weapon. But now it's a weapon that rewards you with health when you hit someone, but makes you take more damage while using it. That makes no sense, and it's even worse when putting the two weapons together. Weapon sets should have good synergy with each other, or at least have some consistency with their stats, like the Black Market Business set, which makes you do something faster but does less damage. But I digress. Even though I've said everything negative about the guns, I still use the Babyface Blaster. As I've said previously, I love having mobility, so having a weapon that makes me go extremely fast is a good thing. And 100 points of damage just to gain back all the boost isn't that much when you think about it when you're playing a scout, when one meat shot can refill the entire boost. And with the pocket pistol, I did rely on it a bit when I was at low health, so I find it to be a better weapon for the scout when survival is important. But I understand why people hate the pistol now. If you just want health, then use the Mad Milk. The pocket pistol really just seems like the weakest option out of all the secondaries. But I do like using the set, even though I've talked down about it the entire time. The Babyface Blaster is a high-risk, high-reward weapon, and the pistol heals you, but makes you more vulnerable while using it. And even though it might not have the best synergy, I do like using these weapons. To be honest, I still love the Babyface Blaster after the nerf. It just makes it harder to use, but I'm fine with the extra challenge. And the pocket pistol is still better than only relying on my primary for damage. There are better options than these weapons, but I feel like people are just making these weapons sound much more worse than they actually are. These weapons were nerfed a lot in the gunmetal update, so hopefully they'll get a buff soon. But anyway, thank you for watching another one of my poor quality videos, and the next time I'll be going over the Scottish Resistance.